If you don't know what a life coach actually does, it's going to be pretty hard to decide first you need one, and secondly they're going to be able to help you. If you're facing a challenging time, maybe something's blowing you off course, you feel a bit stuck, you've lost perspective, or maybe you're just generally feeling helpless or overwhelmed by life, then yes, life coaching is definitely something you might consider. You know, it can be really difficult to get outside of your own head, to get some distance for a problem, gain perspective and sufficient insight so you can figure out what you should do about it. I'm sure you know the sort of thing I'm talking about, when there's that sense that somehow things aren't quite right. You've got a nagging feeling that you need to change in some way, and try as you might, you basically haven't got a clue where to start. And that is where a life coach can be a lifesaver. Hi, I'm Leslie Hornsby. Welcome to my channel, all about coaching with NLP. Here I talk about some of those pesky barrier beliefs and life blocks that people experience, and some of the amazing NLP techniques that you can use to combat them. Usual stuff. If the topic appeals, you're interested, and you want to be kept in the loop, then by all means hit subscribe, use the bell, and well, you know what to do, and then you'll be notified of future videos. So, what is coaching? What does it consist of? What are the benefits? Well, first off, it's not exactly like the coaching that you might get, say, at work, because that tends to focus on developing skills that relate to your job, and that can be practical or personal, of course. It's also very different from mentoring, counselling, or therapy. To begin with, coaches take their cue entirely from you. The central tenet of coaching is the total absence of advice. A coach is not there to tell you what the problem is, what to think, or what to do. A life coach is there primarily to listen, and by asking the right questions, get you thinking, help you unravel your thoughts, gain some clarity, self-awareness, in order that you can begin to correctly identify the issues or goal that you have, and then plan, act, and resolve. So in this video, I'm going to touch on 8 reasons why life coaching might be right for you. Okay, so first off, as I said before, a good coach will never give you advice. You'll never hear the words, I think you should, or would, or must. These are not part of our vocab. Coaches are not in the business of telling you what to think or what to do. Our job is to just tease that stuff out of you. And, overcoming a psychological block, for example, is often helped just by having someone there as a soundboard. It's a great way to untangle your thoughts and get in the right headspace. Your coach, if they're any good, will create an environment where you can feel relaxed and able to share sometimes quite difficult or sensitive issues. And good rapport between you and your coach is the bedrock of success. So choosing someone you feel comfortable with is crucial. Most coaches will offer you a free half-hour consultation. It's a chat where they get a sense of what you need, and that should be essentially enough time for you to get an idea of whether you two suit each other. And don't just go with the first person you talk to, because if you don't feel completely comfortable, it's not going to work. Now, a coach's primary goal is to help you push through the fog of your own thoughts. Get clarity so that you can figure stuff out and decide what exactly is really causing the problem, because more often than not, it's not what you think it is. And once that ball is rolling, then you can move forward onto making some decisions and, if appropriate, formulate a plan together. It's crucial for you to be the author of those decisions and to identify the changes that you want to make for yourself. Someone else's views and opinions are frankly irrelevant, and in the long run, they're not going to help you. When it comes from you, that's when you're most likely to maximize the level of your commitment, as well as making changes that are going to last. Another benefit of coaching is accountability. Accountability when working through change can be an important factor for those people who just struggle to stay on course. Because it's human nature, of course, to avoid difficult and painful things. We make promises to ourselves all the time that we're going to do this, we're going to do that, make some change or give something up. Think of a New Year's resolution that you might have made in the past. How long before your determination drifted and you basically gave up? If you know this about yourself, then of course having someone to witness your commitment, to take action, and then set a schedule of check-ins to help you monitor your progress, as well as be there to bolster your resolve, well, that can make all the difference. Now, I've mentioned getting clarity of thought as part of the coaching process, and this is essentially a game changer. There are times when you know exactly what you want in your life, when you've got purpose and direction. But then, of course, there are times when you know you're not happy, but you just can't pin down why. Or maybe some event has occurred that has such a negative impact that you just feel crushed or defeated. Now, sometimes you convince yourself that if you could just change X in your life, all would be better, like losing weight or becoming rich. And often these sorts of goals hide the true reason behind your unhappiness or disenchantment. And of course, it's then no surprise that attaining them doesn't seem to resolve anything. A life coach can guide you to a point where you can begin to identify what's really going on and distinguish between, the could do's, the should do's, and the ought to's, and help you shed light on what you really want to do. Establishing that allows you, with your coach's help, to construct a step-by-step plan, something that's attainable and offers a clear path to achieving your best life. Now, no coaching can really work without employing some proven coaching methodology. And most coaches will start by asking insightful and challenging questions designed to help you decide what needs to change and what action you may need to take to get you there. A properly trained coach brings to the table a number of strategies and techniques to assist in resolving whatever psychological blocks you may be facing. I'm a certified NLP practitioner, a coaching practice which offers a variety of highly effective psychological techniques. I think nowadays NLP is commonly viewed and sometimes enthusiastically marketed as a random assortment of techniques for doing things to people. And this is quite different to how it was designed and quite different to how it's used by people who've had a thorough training in it. NLP is a model rather than a theory and is the study of subjective experience. It focuses on a generative rather than a repair model, by which I mean that's a fancy way of saying it encourages you to think differently by emphasising finding solutions rather than analysing causes. NLP is about adding choices rather than taking them away. It also regards the mind and body as part of the same system and relies on the fact that all human behaviour has a structure. External behaviour is simply the result of how you use your representational systems, which is another fancy term for your five senses. NLP capitalises on these things to help people with overcoming any number of barrier beliefs, phobias, and emotionally traumatic memories. Making a change, whether it's behaviour pattern, through process or physical situation, is a journey. Inevitably, when you start coaching sessions, there's a gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And a life coach will help you identify just what you're going to have to do to bridge that gap. And then together, you'll formulate a plan in order to achieve your goal. Once you've established your goal, the next thing is to begin to work towards it. And to do that, you have to decide what steps you're going to need to take. Your life coach is here to help you consider and discover those options, especially those that you might miss or disregard if you left to your own devices. Taking you through a process of evaluation, a coach encourages you to weigh pros and cons of those options and consider, in order to achieve your goal, what you should do. This involves factoring in your values and beliefs, of course, as well as your life in general. I mean, your values represent the very core of who you are and how you view the world. So choosing something radical and jarring that's going to conflict with your values is much less likely to be successful. Success is always contingent on maintaining a harmony and balance with your life as it is currently and choosing a plan that you find personally acceptable. Imagine, for example, starting a diet, but it turns out it's too restrictive and unpleasant. And given that you're going to have to require self-discipline day in and day out, the probability of failure then becomes pretty high. Our inner voice, that constant dialogue that goes on inside your head, commonly known as self-talk, it's not always your friend. It's no surprise that thoughts and opinions you have about yourself and your abilities have enormous impact on what you believe you can and can't do, including that seemingly valid set of reasons why we can't do something, and a propensity to conjure up the worst case scenarios that stop you actually even trying. Psychologists refer to that as limiting beliefs. All of this is driven by fear, whether it's fear of failure, fear of other people's opinion, that you might make a mistake, and so on. Such limiting beliefs can be far-reaching and literally control what you allow yourself to do and say. For example, as a young woman, I had no faith in my ability at mental arithmetic, and that absolutely meant that for me, I would avoid the part-time bar jobs I could have had when I was at college to make some money, but basically they were a non-starter because I really was convinced that, I would crash and burn the moment I took my first drinks order. I also had a friend who back then just believed that she really was awful in social situations, and as a result of that, she would often turn down invitations to parties, despite the fact that I knew perfectly well she wanted to go. Whatever your limiting beliefs, they not only limit your opportunities, but they stop you moving forward. And often they're quite rigidly fixed too, regardless of they have absolutely no basis in fact. You form these beliefs throughout your life, from early childhood through to school to adulthood. Many of them are developed often unconsciously through your relationships with family, friends, teachers and peers. The result of limiting beliefs often manifests itself as low self-esteem or confidence, can be phobias or a debilitating insecurity. And an NLP coach will help you uncover and recognise what your limiting beliefs are and work with you to develop strategies to overcome them through an exploration and a re-education of your thought processes and behaviour patterns. Now, if we're honest, talking about ourselves isn't exactly a chore. In the everyday, social mores dictate that we at least try to share airtime with other people to show an interest in their thoughts and lives. You may even have found yourself in situations, as I have in my life, where you're doing all the listening whilst a friend talks endlessly about their problems, and the conversation becomes very one-sided and frankly not very satisfying from your viewpoint. Well, imagine then how great it would be to have someone's complete attention, to know they're 100% invested in what you have to say, and you don't have to worry about showing reciprocal interest or being bombarded with pointless biased advice that just ends up irritating you as they tell you what to do. Better to be able to relax in the knowledge that your coach's only focus is to help you resolve a problem or achieve a dream. And this is exactly what consulting with a life coach means. Someone who has the training to be able to effectively support you, facilitate clarity of thought, get you motivated and help you come up with actionable steps so that you can get where you want to be in life. Sometimes investing in yourself is not as quantifiable as, say, paying for a gym membership or saving for a holiday. Trouble is, in those cases, it can often mean that you're going to hesitate making a financial commitment. But the truth is that coaching can transform your life, not just in the short term, but permanently. An NLP coach will use techniques that have their foundation in helping you find solutions to your problems and achieve success in your life. Think about it. Have you ever wondered how successful people get what they want? The fact is that it all comes down to self-belief. With the right coach, you'll develop invaluable self-knowledge and emotional intelligence, as well as equip yourself with strategies and techniques that you can take away with you and use after coaching, and they can serve you over and over again whenever you need them, ultimately benefiting your entire life and future happiness. If you'd like to know more about life coaching with NLP and getting some help, then just head over to my website. The details are down underneath this video. I really hope that this has offered you some insight into what life coaching can offer, and please join me again next time for more help and advice on living your best life. But for now, thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.